anything like that, or you just straight into?
I just thought of a punchline because like it's been funny. Like a lot, I've been telling people like the last month that I'm thinking about going back to school.
Yeah.
For
Get some chapstick real quick.
Psychology.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Once I got to the gate and realized that my flight was gone, the original flight, I just asked, I'm like, what was the likelihood that I would have been able to get on this flight anyway? Just tell me, enlighten me. You're like, you're gonna get on there. He's like, there's empty seats on that. That crushed my heart.
The Philly flight?
No, the flight for me to get the original flight that I was for, and that I took lightly.
If you would have got there,
I would have got there. I would have been home at 11 Friday night instead of 6 a.m. on Saturday. So knowing that, I was like, wow, there's empty seats on there. Motherfuckers getting comfortable on my behalf because I missed my seat, and now I'm just like shit. So now I learned to get myself at least an hour to the airport before I take off. And the reason why is because like I'm a guy, I don't have kids. Like I have TSA pre-checks. I'm just like, my process going through the airport should be pretty simple.
Are you usually traveling
during this time though?
No, not even during this time, but like, is that usually your window? Like I'm gonna leave the crib 30 minutes before the flight take off. That's your usual scheduling?
Not really.
No.
But it's because I just recently got pre-check. I'm like,
oh yeah.
And then Kyle, that was
it's gonna save about 15 minutes.
And then Kyle, he was like, he just got in my head. He's like, I love the thrill of it because he always makes it. I guess he doesn't miss it, but he was like, yeah, bro, I get to the airport like 30 minutes before, and I still have time, whatever. But like, you gotta give it time for like shit to like happen. God forbid.
Shit to go left.
Right, the unexpected.
Like I know when I'm flying, and I guess it's a habit from like flying with my family because it's what we always do. Like the time I get there, I'm gonna have an hour at the gate. Like I get the flight leave at 5:30. I'm at the airport at 4. I'm using that 30 minutes to get through TSA pre, whatever.
Yeah, and that's intentional. Like you don't mess around. Because you've had a horror story, or no?
I think it's built in me based on like all the flights I've taken with family. Like the flight could be at 9 in the morning.
You'll be there at like 6.
We up at 4 in the morning. We get
that's the best.
We lowering the truck up by 5. We at the airport by 6, and then we just chilling, eating breakfast, all on our laptops, whatever, until for that 2-hour window. Right. Just knowing like we
you're here.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping you and your family from getting on this flight is a cancellation.
Yeah, and that's what like. Just to bring it into a different avenue, like a conversation I've been having is like I'm trying to build my morning routine to allow me to have a slow morning. So like my mornings are really rushed. Like I'm the kind of like I feel like we had this talk before. Like I like to squeeze in that extra 10 to 15 minutes of sleep. Knowing it's not going to do any, it really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't add any more rest or change how I feel from waking up. Like if I wake up at 8 o'clock versus 8:30, I feel the exact same. But I feel like squeezing in that extra 30 minutes, it's being selfish in that moment. It's ironic because it's being selfish because I want the extra sleep to myself.
Oh, okay.
Because like, being selfish because I want that extra time of sleep, knowing that little extra 30 minutes isn't really doing a major difference for me. And if I would have gotten up 30 minutes prior,
the
morning would have been slower.
Really? So there's never been a time where you took that extra 15 to 30 minutes of rest in the morning and you got up out of bed and you're like, damn, like that extra 15 or 30 minutes like gave me more energy, or I feel a lot better. That's never been the case.
I'm still tired regardless.
It don't matter.
Like I don't feel good till like once I hit the shower. That's my first thing. Like the moment I wake up, I roll out of bed and I get straight to the shower. It's the first thing I do. So no matter what time I'm waking up, like for example, when we going on vacations like we were just talking about, waking up at 4 in the morning, I feel the same that I do when I wake up at 8 in the morning.
On vacation?
Like you're just waking up, like to get to the airport. Waking up that early.
Got you.
So like that extra time of sleep is not doing that much for me in terms of feeling more rested. Knowing I can get up a little bit earlier and have that nice slow morning. Like this morning, I woke up and kind of rushed because we had the family Christmas party. So like I had to be there at 12 to help set up.
Oh wow.
We ready like 11:30.
Everybody. Like were you like was it?
No, everybody else was gone.
Oh, so you were late.
Yeah, we got there like 12:17.
Damn, that's not like you. I feel like.
No, it's not.
But shit happens.
No, like you could wake up a little bit earlier and like
you would have been on time.
And that was still like kind of rushing. But I don't like the sense of rushing. I don't like rushing at all. I don't think we here to rush. Just not even to bring it to the spiritual sense, but like
talk about it.
We're not even here to rush. Like, and I actually just came across this term. I think it's pronounced. I can actually find it.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, and I agree with you on the whole Russian thing, bro. That's exactly how I felt on Friday. And I feel like it's becoming a tendency because it's like that rush of dopamine or that thrill or that, I don't want to say high because that sounds insane.
But like, it makes sense though.
Oh, I made it. It's a mission. It's like, not an agenda, but it's kind of like, damn.
It's kind of like watching basketball and seeing like, yo, we down by 2.
Can I make this happen?
The clock is ticking down. Yeah. Make it happen, and you win the game. It's like it feels like more of a thrill, more of a high.
Like you won a championship.
Yeah. Weird. Versus like we won by 20.
Right, it's weird.
Like that slither of a window of like we almost didn't make it, but we did. Kind of gives that. I don't know. It's kind of like you said, like a high, like a thrill of that shot of adrenaline.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not gonna lie, like the times where I am rushed and I succeed at whatever I was trying to accomplish in that time window. It's like, oh shit. My seatbelt on, I'm on an airplane. I just like, fuck. I did it. I'm here. It's like shit. But no, and I can't keep doing this like this because what happened Friday happened. So now I'm just like,
it's a lesson to take.
It's a lesson learned. Like, I'd rather, like you said, just be at the airport for 2 hours, not doing shit, reading a book, sleeping or whatever, just to make sure I'm there, whether or not it's a cancellation, a delay, but I know that I'm here and I'm not gonna like miss this flight.
1000%. Yeah, the term is it's a Japanese word called yatori. Yatori, Y-U-T-O-R-I, and it's a conscious act of slowing down to allow us to savor the world around us. The refusal to rush, no talking, just absorbing the world around us with no goal except to see spaciousness. Yatori. So
that's a Japanese word?
Yeah, I found a symbol for it. I want to get that tattoo. Like that's really like, I feel like that's like the essence of my spirit as a whole. It's just like having what's the rush on the back of my neck. Like everybody asking like, yo, how are you so like at peace? How are you able just to be just so not calm. Slow, but like calm and in a calm state constantly.
At ease.
Yeah, like I always like the main thing with us is like our phones, and I'm always telling like I'll see somebody on their phone, and like my main thing a lot as of late, I've been saying like stop looking down because you'll miss it, and then the response would be like miss what? It's like that's the point. Like you don't know what you're missing when you keep looking down.
Damn.
Like you just gotta look up. Don't be in a rush to get to this place. Cause like even like
you're not even enjoying this moment right here.
Like even with creating, like I've learned. Like it's one of my favorite lessons as a creative is that the end goal isn't the bulk of the, how do I put this? Like the final product of what you create, whether it's a song, whether it's a project, the vlog you just showed me that you're working on, like, the end goal of having that video done feels good, but the best thing that comes from it is the experience of creating it. It's all about the process. It's not about getting from A to Z. It's all the letters in between that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like creating a project, like I could put it together a whole album, and like it'll take me. Say I spent 3 months working on an album.
Yeah.
From May to August, I'm working on this album, and we get to August, and the album's done, and it's like, it feels accomplished, and I'm about to let it out to the world. But the most satisfaction comes from all those months in between. Yeah. Like the stories I had to live through to make the creation. The vlog you just showed me, that final video is phenomenal. But y'all probably have, you and the cameraman probably have stories now you could save it for a lifetime. Just the laughs that you had, like the bloopers and the editing session, like that's where all of the bulk of like, not the accomplishment, but just savoring the moment. It's all about savoring the moment. Yeah. Like the book I told you I was writing, like one of the chapters is Savor the Coffee.
I think you talked about that with me. Yeah, break that down a little bit. Like this. I mean, it's as simple as it sounds, right?
Yeah, like it's super simple. It's like the present moment is a cup of coffee. It's warm. Right. It's freshly poured.
Don't let it get cold.
The taste is amazing, but like you have it in your hand and it's there for you to savor right now. Because as the moments fleet, it begins to get colder. The roast isn't going to taste as well as it does right now. And you'll have that cup of coffee in your hand, but you'll just look around and spend the next 15, 20, 30 minutes just absorbing and observing the world around you. And then you finally take that sip of coffee and it's nowhere near. It may taste good then, but it was nowhere near as good as it was if you would have took the sip as soon as you got a hold of it. That's like true. Savor the coffee, savor the moment, live in now, because now is the only moment that exists.
It matters, truly. So talk about it then, because I even struggle with that. Like, again, creating the vlog that I created, or like just staying in the moment and like not. Because I feel like it's sometimes hard to let go of the past, but we're also super anxious for the future.
Yeah.
We when those two things happen, where it's like you can't really let go of the memories and things that happened in the past, but then you're so, absorbed by what's going to happen in the future based on like your goals or your vision. How do we like live in that now moment, in that presence? Like, how do we?
I think it comes just like with anything else in life, and it's just practicing it and constantly.
What practices you say would be like something good to start with? Because I know everyone has something different that.
It's really a mindset thing.
Really?
Like I came across a quote that said, "Anxiousness is caused by thought to the future, and depression is being stuck on the past. And the only cure for both is to be right now." Like anytime you're anxious, you're just worried about what's coming. And
you don't really even know sometimes. You're just putting that energy out.
A lot of the times the things we worry about and are so anxious about don't even happen.
Yeah.
And it's like another chapter in the book is called Invitation of Worry. And for me, worrying and staying in an anxious state of mind is an invitation for the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Because as I'm trying to explain and help people grasp the idea of is that your mind is the architect for your reality.
Right. No, that's crazy. That's literally what I heard from a video I watched a couple of hours ago from someone that I follow on YouTube, and he was talking about how like you don't want to have any limitations. Like he has a secret society where he welcomes not only men but women as well, because everybody should be able to be the architect of their life. That is something he just said, and it's like, damn.
Like you are the architect of your reality. Like you give meanings to everything that happens to you on a moment by moment basis. Like if you try to walk out the room and you tripped on the carpet, it could either be just a clumsy moment or it could be a sign of something bigger. That all comes down to you, your mind, and your ability to be an architect and paint the canvas of your life with the palette you've been presented with. And in that same aspect, it's the understanding, like I told you before, the world you live in now was once a thought.
That's you might have watched the video, because then he went into saying like, the tallest building you see started from somewhere. It started from someone.
It all started from the mind.
And it's crazy because you're literally hitting on all the points he hit on.
Like a main one I've been saying is like, not saying, but like expounding on in the book is that like we have this habit of saying things are man-made because they were man-made by human hands.
Right, someone's mind.
Everything's mind-made.
Yeah.
Everything started as a seed within the mind. This mirror, cameras, the clothes we're wearing, the beanbag, the chairs we're sitting on, all this started as a seed within the mind, and it had to grow and be watered and executed upon by the man.
Right.
In order to be brought into fruition and to manifest it into a tangible reality, but it all started off as a seed, as a thought, as just a little blip in the mind.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, like when you say it as easy as you make it sound, I feel like sometimes we still get caught up of like how much power we really do have. Because like, I mean, I always say it's like the access to excess. Like it's so easy for us to compare ourselves to someone else's situation, but we really don't know like the trials and tribulations that they took to get to where they're at.
Absolutely.
I always say like, what success is to you might be different from me, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but it just goes from what we're talking about, like
dive into that.
having
Dive into it.
power and controlling your life and like being the author of what you want and like,
depends in your hand.
you know what I mean? I'm not huge on manifestation, but like I like to vision things as how I would like them to be. And it can't just be a vision though, because there has to be actionable steps and work put behind that vision. You have to, you know, tell people that you trust, that support you, so that they can even maybe hold you accountable for something that you truly want. And then obviously you want to go into your notepad, you want to write these things down, you want to look at it maybe at the end of the week and assess like, what did you do right? Why was it right? What did you do wrong? And you want to kind of like, you want to make little tweaks to eventually it adds up like compound interest. You know, it can count for something.
No, absolutely. And I like the point you made of there has to be action behind it is 1000% fact. Like the idea of a critique of presenting this idea is that like manifestation isn't solely thought based. You can't just think it. You can't just think about it and then expect it to poof into reality. There has to be action behind it. But in order for the action to take place, it has to be the thought, the imagination, the vivid imagery of the final product has to be the precursor to the action taking place. Like you can get, it's kind of the blueprint. Like imagine you went and hired an entire construction team and handed them tools and just said, build something. What are we gonna build? Don't just get the action. Just do it. But you gotta have that blueprint. Yo, this is what we're doing, and that all comes in here. So you put this together in here, figure out the final product. All right, that's actually a roadmap I've been like kind of trying to introduce in the text.
In the book?
Yeah, where like one of the best ways to go about it is to see your finished product. Imagine it fully through. See, what does it look like when Keenan Kingston
it's like
reached exactly where he wants to be? The highest point, the summit of all that he's been working towards. Now work backwards.
Are you talking about like short term or are we talking about legacy?
Legacy, all time. Your highest point.
Gotcha.
This is where I see that. This is everything I see that's a part of that. My day-to-day looks like this. Now work backwards to where you are now. And try to imagine the steps that you took to get there. Because I feel like we're also stuck on thinking from the aspect of here to there. Like you thinking, all right, this is where I'm at right now, and that's where I want to be. Let me try to work
towards it.
What does tomorrow look like to get to there? What does the next day look like to get to there? But imagine if you looked at the very end goal and then worked backwards.
That's interesting.
Like imagine you were, if I gave you hundreds of car parts and I said, now put it together. And you never put it together a car in a day in your life. It's going to take you a while to get there. Now imagine I said, I gave you an entire car and I said, take it apart, bring it down to scratch. You'd probably be able to work it back. It's probably going to be easier to get there. Yeah, for sure. I can definitely take a car apart faster than I could put it together. And then from taking it apart, you could remember, oh, I remember I took this piece from here. Versus I gave you all the pieces and then telling you to build the finished product. But if you took apart the finished product and brought it to just a bunch of pieces, you could probably work back towards that finished product a lot easier. Gotcha. So it's like vision that finished car. Don't just purely work from this box of pieces. You know what I'm saying? Which is like when you buy a puzzle, the puzzle, they show you the full picture. Imagine you bought a puzzle and didn't show you the finished picture. Imagine how hard it would be to put that puzzle together. Wow. Damn. And this is all just a puzzle. So how long did you like implement this specific roadmap into your lifestyle? I thought about this last week. Oh shit. Yeah, this is new. Okay, damn. This is new. And that's probably like a thought that came from the book. That thought process is new, like starting from the end and working back. Gotcha. So this ties into like what we're talking about, how we should like fully envision and focus on what that end result of that goal or success we're working towards. Yeah. And taking steps backwards in a sense of being closer to that because we're so like aligned and sharply tuned into what that like looks like for us. Yeah. For you, and I admire you, always tell you this all the time, like what you do and like
what you're about and what you support. But like for someone like you who has so much creative passions and projects, because you said you implemented this like a week ago. So what was the roadmap for you when you were creating your first album? What was the roadmap for you when you were creating your merch? What was the roadmap for you when you're like trying to pick a beat or pick a producer or figure out who to collaborate with? I mean, obviously it's more, I feel like surface level, but I feel like there's still steps in between to like, I don't know if you did or not, envision what that first project would look like or sound like. Yeah. Or was it just like, kind of like your rookie year and you're just trusting the output and trusting the work?
So,
if that makes sense.
Funny. Like I said, so I guess I kind of packaged that idea last week. Yeah. I think that idea of that thought process became a revelation last week. Like, oh, this is the way to think about it. Pardon me. When I look back, I've been implementing that forever.
That's what you've been
subconsciously.
Doing. Gotcha.
Like since my first project, a big habit of mine when I'm creating a music project is that before, like of course I'm loosely recording and writing songs as time goes on. But when it's time to really lock in and like I'm working on this specific project, it's so backwards, but I have to have the photo cover, I have to have the album cover done before anything. That has to be done so I know the direction I'm getting to. Because when I'm looking at that album cover and I'll print it out and I'm holding
it's like your roadmap?
Like, okay, so the album cover looks like this. It's giving me this vibe. It has these colors on it.
Right.
These colors, just the whole setup and the picture of the cover of the album is I can hear the album now when I see the picture. And none of the songs are done. I remember when I shot the bleached cover and we were in the hotel room shooting it because the bathroom shot is in a hotel bathroom with Deja. And so she was like, play some of the songs off the album so that we can shoot to it and like fit the vibe. And I was like, I don't have any songs.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Wow. She looked at you like you're crazy, right?
Yeah, and I felt so crazy because everybody in the room was like, you don't have none of the songs. I'm like, I have no songs. Like this is my first step, which would usually be people's final step. Make the album, then get all the
right. Because it seems more like simple. Done. Like the songs out, the complete list of tracks is out. So now you can
build the vision of the cover based off the music and the feel of the music. It's like, no, I want the final. I work so backwards, literally. Like I do all the photos first. I know the release date is gonna be. I know the name of the album. Now off of that, I know the story of the album based on how the photos look and the album cover look. Now I can get into, okay, so now what does the production sound like? All right, so now we're getting the production side done. All right, now all I gotta do is fill in. It becomes so much easier.
Really?
Yeah. It goes back to the puzzle analogy. Like when the album cover is done first, I can see how the final puzzle looks.
I feel like that's a special ability though, bro, because like, and again, maybe it's something that's just like in you, but like it's for me, I'm like not a musical artist. I'm not that talented. Like,
but you're a creative, so don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I wish I could. Before I die, I want to make one song. Promise me that. One song. I feel like
make 100.
It's gotta be good though. It's gotta be good. I just want maybe a music video to go with it would be nice. I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes I try to stay in my lane, but fuck it.
Eradicate the idea of a lane. Period.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah,
don't box yourself in.
Yeah.
I'm writing.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, would you? Trying to think of something extreme, but it's like, yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a box, but like there's things that you probably know you're not the best at. But how do I phrase it? Like
we weren't the best at anything we started before.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wouldn't do creatively? Like would you? Because I mean, you model, you write music, you make clothes, you paint. Like, is there like some crazy shit? Like I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
I don't think if it didn't. No, I don't see myself doing anything. I don't see myself saying no to anything in any creative field. I love creating too much. My favorite thing is to design. I love designing. Like I want to eventually design cars, and I want to be the architect behind the blueprints of houses. I want to design clothes.
That would be dope.
I want to design a skyscraper and like. We're in New York City one day and I'm looking at a damn skyscraper. Like I designed that. Like I love design so much that I'm writing this book to help rewire the human brain and ponderism.
And that's like the design of your mind.
The design of the mind. Like, that's how much, I love design and creativity so much that the external world wasn't enough for me. I needed to help redesign and help create the internal world, the actual human mind.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go inside people's mind and repaint the walls in which the way they see it. Which is like,
it's not easy.
It's not easy at all. And even on a small scale, I've been seeing people like speak. If I catch somebody post a story that seems kind of negative,
you'll comment? You'll write to them?
I'm gonna reach out.
Really?
Yo, I did it today. Somebody posted.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
It was a good friend. I won't say her name just because I don't know.
It was something negative? Was she just venting or ranting?
No, the post was pretty much, she screenshotted a TikTok comment that said, it was pretty much under the premise of, if I accomplish something, I don't celebrate it, because
that sounds like,
I accomplished it, then it couldn't have been too difficult or too great of something.
You got to be more self-compassionate.
And as soon as I saw, I instantly sent the paragraph. I was like, oh no, like, we got to change this frame of mind.
Really? That's good though. But this is not something that you would just do for like maybe someone you've met once and you don't really know, or would you? Does it have to be?
I do it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Because we were just talking about like,
but it's who you are, because again, you're working on like trying to reframe and like design the mind. So if you're like preaching,
but notice how you said it's not who I am, it's not who we are. I'm trying to like completely erase this idea of self that is just me. Like, remove this idea of strangers.
There's no strangers to you. Strangers doesn't exist. Like a random guy across the street.
It's just a person I haven't met yet.
You haven't met yet.
It's not even met. It's just a person I haven't had a conversation yet with.
That is true, because when you end up probably having a conversation with that person,
you say hi to that person, the gaze of stranger begins to, it's like a fog in a mirror. And the foggiest of mirrors are all strangers. Like, it's a world full of mirrors. And I say that in the book too. We're in a world full of mirrors, because when you speak to somebody, it's all projecting. We were once strangers. And now blood wouldn't make us any closer.
Right.
You see a stranger and that's a mirror that's foggy. Every time you have a conversation or every word you guys exchange, you begin to wipe that fog. And now I see myself in them.
That's a good description.
That's no longer a stranger. Somebody I see myself within, because I've had all these memories. Right. We shared conversations.
Trust, value, enjoy.
It's not a stranger, just somebody I haven't had a conversation with yet. So I'm trying to completely erase the idea of self, and I guess that goes into like how you heard in like spirituality, like through ego death and everything. Because everything that's I, me, you. When we just section ourselves off, it's just pure ego filled. It's the realization that like we are all one being.
Yeah.
As if just because it's outside of you physically doesn't mean it's not you. If I cut myself now and the blood fell on the floor, we would still say that's my blood, even though it's outside of me. So what's different than a person? Like, everything you look around and see is you. Every person you see is you. Just like we just said, every person you see is just you under different circumstances.
Why don't we think of it like that? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I remember we had this conversation back in the summer, and it was super deep. We were on the phone for maybe like 2 hours, and you were just telling me like how, like, I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of where you told me like who I am, and like when I look at the past and I look at things from old memories and experiences I might have had, I have to look at it from just like not me being in that moment, but me observing that moment. Like watching myself as if I'm out of my body. Remember we had a conversation like that, or am I off?
No, you're on.
You're saying something like, with those moments.
When I look back at my memories, I don't revisit my memories.
Just to show you how much I listen, I put it in my notes. Let me see if I got it, and I could actually tell you the exact date. Because I was like, I think I was even writing stuff down when we were talking.
It was more so like experiencing, when you go back to visit memories, don't experience them again, just watch them as observers.
Yeah, and then there was something else that you sent on Instagram that really like hammered it home.
That same
It was like
theory.
infinite wisdom. Perfect. 6/9/24, June 9th, this past summer.
That's 6/24.
Can you read it?
24.
VONDO wisdom. And you said, I experience life as a spectator. That's how you said. You said, when I reminisce on memories, I don't reminisce from a first person perspective. You said, I think back as if I'm viewing the experience from the outside looking in, like a witness, even though I was the one experiencing it firsthand. This allows me to ponder memories as just that. Distance, memories, and it prevents me from reliving the experience because that comes with feeling past feelings, good or bad. The law of detachment. That's what we were like talking about. And we said that, I was like, damn, I never really thought of it like that. So I had to like put that in my phone.
Oh yeah.
Ponder it. No pun intended. Because I was just like, damn, how do I look at memories as if I didn't live it? Because I was there. I felt the emotions.
Yeah.
Felt the pain, the hurt, the anger, the anxiousness.
It's kind of like maybe if you were to watch a movie like about ghosts and you see the ghosts. Have you ever seen Interstellar?
So what's that?
It's like an astronaut-based movie. But
Put me on.
It's one of the best movies ever.
Really?
It's such a complex movie that I won't even use that as an analogy because I have to like go back and break it down.
It's a whole rabbit hole.
But think of if you were watching a movie about ghosts, and in that movie the ghost visits moments that it once lived in, and the ghost enters the room. Like if the ghost of me entered this room, pondering the memory of us filming this right now, I wouldn't view it from this perspective. I'm viewing it as if I'm standing at that doorway looking in.
Just watching.
And I'm watching us. I can see it right now from that perspective looking this way.
And that's your outlook.
And that's the outlook on like going back and visiting memories. It allows me not to have to be in my position again through that memory.
Right.
Because if I sit myself back in that position, if I sit myself back in that chair, I'm going to end up feeling everything. But if I view it from an outside perspective, it's like I'm just watching a film unfold before my eyes. I know how the ending of the film is like watching a movie again.
Right. And that's good. Have you heard of the author Young Pueblo? Pretty sure. Yeah, there's a couple different books like they're like New York Times #1 like bestseller, and I'm reading one I think now it's Connection and Clarity. It's like a blue cover book. I really like it. It's a simple read. Might be about like 250 pages, and he talks about a lot of what we're saying now. And I hate how sometimes I can read things and not really remember it, because if I'm not remembering it or I can't re-explain it, that means I got to go back and not like study it, but reread it for understanding.
That's one of my pet peeves about myself. I always say like I wish I could sit down on this beanbag and read a book a day.
That would be like so powerful.
Like I would love to.
Why can't you? I mean, I'm just asking.
I'm trying to.
Is it the time?
No.
Or is it just like motivation?
It's
interest.
It's new age and our attention spans.
Yeah.
I sit down and I started a new book today and I'm reading it. Like a page in, my mind just starts to wander. I have a bad habit of letting my mind wander, and I think I'm just used to doom scrolling.
Is it because does it wander because like the book might start off slow, or your mind's just going and
it's just going coming in nonstop? And I always say,
so you can't like, because I know you read, you got a bunch of books up there. So like when you do read, how focused are you in that moment, and how much are you reading? Because for me, like, this is my thing. I try to break it down and have like a system and process. Not for everything, but like I try to make reading essential. So like this past week and other weeks, I'll read first thing in the morning. Yeah. Part of my morning routine is I'll take a wellness shot first thing in the morning, brush my teeth, and I'll at least try to read for like 30, 45 minutes to an hour.
Which is great, because I'm not even there.
But I'm up and down. It's a roller coaster. I want to make it more consistent, because then I could run through more books and go through books again so I can really fully understand it. But like for you, when you read, how long are you reading it in one setting before you're like, okay?
It varies. There's been times like I've sat for an hour, but I can't do that consistently.
Gotcha.
On average, I'm probably reading 15 to 20 minutes in one sitting.
I'm sure if it's a book about something like music or artistry or philosophy,
doesn't matter how enamored I am about the book, my brain is just gonna start. It's just, I'm so used to this. Really? Like I could be reading something, I'll see a post on Twitter that I find so captivating, and I'll get through 2 sentences and like, all right, I want to scroll.
Really?
So I'm used to, I guess.
So you're obsessive over scrolling on your phone?
Yeah. And it bled into my like habit behind reading, to where like I could be so.
You're lying, really? Because I feel like you were like not that guy. Like I feel like you the guy to like sleep with your phone like in the other room.
I've tried.
I feel like you can shut it down.
I've tried sleeping with my phone at the other side of the room. I
guess you have moments. It comes and goes.
Yeah, like to the point where like I've started something new this week where my phone's now on grayscale. I've completely removed color from my phone, and it leaves being on social media and app switching and doom scrolling becomes less enticing. Cause I'm just seeing dull gray,
color,
black, gray, and white.
Anything that might trigger anything.
So I'm getting bored from scrolling quicker. So I'll just keep scrolling. And something that might keep me watching for a while has no color, and I'm like, I just don't. And now when I look up, like I need to see color. So now I look into the real world, and now I'm being
like even something like that, like. Never thought about doing anything like that. Now I might. But I might just I'm watching a Breaking Bad now, so I might just watch that shit in black and white.
But try it for like a day.
Damn, I know you're talking about you like long hold the screen and you have like all the different like monochromes, black and white.
Yes.
I think I've seen that.
I went to grayscale. So now I could be on my phone for 5 minutes. I'm scrolling, but all I'm seeing is black and white. And then I look up, I'm like, oh.
And that's what it is 24/7.
Yeah, I'm keeping it on grayscale now, yeah.
Wow.
The only time it's not is when I do like an Instagram post. I gotta make sure the tones are right.
For sure, it's right back to it.
And as soon as I post it, once it's done and it's up,
right,
I go back to grayscale.
So do you think like that'll be something that you just practice until you gain more self-control, or is that? Because I mean, I feel like again we try.
I want to get to the point where I'm thinking about giving up my phone.
It's just giving it away, selling it, or just like
putting it away and getting like a BlackBerry or a flip phone.
Really? Because you feel like you still be able to do the things like nothing would really. Like what would change? What would be the most drastic change from doing that? From being so disconnected from the social world and these apps? Because I don't know. I mean, if you get a phone, like if you go from iPhone to something that's less smart, I feel like you're losing some value there. Because again, we have a smartphone, but how often do we really use it to its capabilities?
No, I agree. I think it'll rehab my attention
span. But that's good though, because sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, like, you're good.
And I don't even have the balls to do anything like that, just because I'm so attached to it. But like.
The thing, all the swiping you do, all the scrolling you do, aside from the posting, what percentage of it is actually productive, of value and productive to you?
Not much. And it's crazy
maybe
because
10%?
Maybe, if that. I get so like, I don't know if insecure is the right word, but like, at the end of the week, Apple will give me a notification of what my screen time was.
I was just about to bring up
I'm always in that, fuck, I'm gonna be vulnerable. It's like, it'll be 7 hours, like give or take.
Mine like 8 to 9.
And I don't know, like some people say it's good, some people it's bad. I like, and this is how sometimes I know like when I have a good week or a bad week, because some weeks it'll be like 6 hours, 5 hours. I'm like, oh shit, I must have been really.
You were here.
Yeah.
You weren't here.
I was
you were
present as shit. Yeah. And I like that, because like there's times where I actually felt like deleting social media. Like I don't even use Snapchat anymore. I haven't logged on in maybe like.
Not to cut you off, but you mentioned before, what's a practice you could do to bring yourself to be able to savor the coffee and to be more present? Think how much of scrolling is taking you away from this present moment. That's 7 hours that you could have been here right now. Right. 7 hours out of your day that you could have been present.
You're right. But then why do we feel as humans so much like excitement for others when they're going through something? Because it's like, when you might be on vacation, you might be in Curacao, wherever you'd like to travel. I'm kind of, since I know you, I'm kind of living through you vicariously because of what you're posting, whether it's a coconut drink with your feet in the sand. I'm like, I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
So to me, obviously, it's kind of like a mental vacation, which is weird because it's like, yes, I'm obviously not in that moment because I'm not physically with you. You're the one that posted the photo, but seeing you there and knowing your vibe.
Are you rationalizing your social media habits?
No, because I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but I'm just trying.
I get what you're saying, but how often of your scroll is that?
A lot. I feel like. Well, I only follow people I know.
Yeah.
Some not so well as you, but like. If I see something, it'll probably be like, it's weird. Like, and again, it's stupid. It probably sounds dumb, but like, even when like it happens to me, because it does happen, whether it's like fitness, that's something that's super relatable. People can like resonate with that. Like whether it's a certain type of workout or something difficult or a milestone, they probably feel like they were there in that moment with me because maybe they just reached their PR of that certain weight or whatever. And some people go on vacation, some people don't. But I've been out the country, so I know what that feels like. So when I see you out the country, giving me a mental vacation in my mind, I'm like, damn, I kind of feel like I'm there. But then when I shut it off.
So what can you do to still experience that, but limit the scrolling?
Probably staying off my phone as easy as it sounds. Yeah. Or we can get a little deeper, and it's like really like being in tune with myself and meditating. Yeah. Giving myself a high degree of peace of mind, which is something that I'm really trying to work with. Because even during the summer, we had that long ass conversation. You remember I called you and I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and I said, bro, like, how do you meditate? How long do you meditate? Why do you meditate? And what's your practice of meditating? Because I feel like that's something that, imagine if you can give yourself the time and day of an hour to yourself to focus and just kind of like
nothing but now.
You know what I mean? Be still, be at ease, just not
feeling the resonance of your being, feeling your breathing. Yeah. Like every breath we take is a blessing.
Yeah, but we don't even count it or think about it. Like
besides until we had this conversation, just this very moment, throughout this entire day, when did you take the moment to realize you're breathing?
Probably when I was driving to the zoo. Because I try, like, one thing I'll try to do is like be cognizant of like my breathing. And when I do catch myself in that moment, I'll go just to reset. If I can get like 5 of those, 10 of those a day, I'm like completely aware of my breathing. Yeah. But not to the point of where I'm here and I'm meditating for 30, 40 minutes a day. Where some people,
and that puts you, I think that puts you in the 1% of the world. You think? How many people are doing that?
I don't know. I feel like people,
like maybe a lot of people may take a deep breath to reset.
Right.
Because they're
stressed. Like, damn, these kids.
But not taking it as, they're not taking that deep breath with the realization of I'm breathing right now. You're breathing right now.
Yeah. My heart's pumping.
There's blood being pumped through your heart. Yeah. You're breathing. You're alive. Yeah. We don't take the moment to. We're so focused on everything. Yo, I'm.
Right.
What?
Right. We don't look at it like much.
It's
like this is a post.
We allow it to escape us so much.
Yeah. I mean, your body is your.
That meditating. That's my favorite thing with meditating is that when I cut all the lights off, might light a candle. I sit there and meditate, and I focus on my breath first. But then I can
eyes open or closed?
Closed. But then shortly after, seconds after, into my breathing, I can feel every part of my body. I can feel my legs vibrating, like the existence of my being. Like I said before, resonating. Like that hum of my being. I can feel that tingle.
So you're like in a trance at that point.
Yeah, and the trance, it feels like I'm being charged.
And that's so like invigorating. I feel like just being able to be in that state, because I'm not able to like
that state of now.
Get to that like.
I just bought a clock by Ram Dass. It's one of the.
I've seen that somewhere. I think I've seen it like at a furniture store. No, bro, one of the homies in Arizona, she has one like that, but it's bigger, and she has it like on her coffee table.
That exact clock?
It's bigger.
But that same one?
I think so. Why?
That blue?
Is it rare?
That's Ram Dass. He was a spiritual teacher. The blue one here above the guitars.
Oh shit! I think you're talking about the droopy one.
Oh, not the melting clock. That's the clock inspired by Salvador Dali. He was a painter, and it's called the melting clock. It's literally a clock melting. Oh, okay. But that blue clock there, it's funny. I got mad clocks up there. But the clock by the guitars, that's a clock by Ram Dass.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to read that.
That book right behind you.
Oh, so this came with the clock?
No. So this is a book by Ram Dass. It's called Be Here Now. And it's a spirituality book on there's a lot involved in it. But the main premise of the book is be here now, how to live in the moment. Meditation, all these other practices. Be here now. Remember. Be here now, be here now, be here now. Now, if you look at the clock, where the numbers are, if you could see.
They're supposed to be, or they're there?
Where the numbers are supposed to be, it says now.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, because if there's numbers there, I'm blind.
Whatever time it is, whatever time the hands are showing,
I see the message.
It says now.
Got it.
And
wow,
I love that.
Damn. So this is your current read right now?
You could say that.
Or are you one of those people
that's another
that
thing with
pick
me
up books
reading.
and read, pick up another book, start fresh? You're one of those?
If I had to say I had a current read, I'm like in 5 books right now. I started that.
Really? How do you? I'm not gonna. It sounds so silly when I ask questions like that because I guess I just don't try. But I feel like I have to just hit one book, finish it, on to the next. But I like the idea of reading several books at one time because like you get what you can take from it and you just kind of like.
I feel like every read, at some point within the book, you kind of become. You lose the excitement.
Really?
Until you get drawn back in. Once that little window happens, it's like another, like, it's spoiled. But once that moment happens, I go and pick up another book.
Petrutus, actually. Really?
It's a really good book. You can watch I study his speeches and his teachings on YouTube. He like hours-long videos. On everything you could think of spiritual.
And you came across
Terrence McKenna.
How'd you come across this author? Or he's an artist?
Spiritual teacher. Funny enough, he was in the documentary on psychedelics I was watching. He was like, he went to Harvard, like super
way back
intellectual years ago, like 60s, 70s, went to Harvard. Suit and tie kind of dude, glasses.
Nerdy.
In Harvard.
Just like,
you know, like in this, like studying the sciences and all that. And then as he ascended through his enlightenment and spiritual journey, he just became this like yogi, this.
So he's someone that
leader. He passed recently.
Oh, okay, but he was a big public figure. People followed his teachings, his wisdom.
Within the spiritual community, yeah.
Okay, got it. So you had to like be informed, because like he's not someone that like if you posted this book and like asked like have you read this or do you know about this artist, would the majority of people say yes? Probably not, right? Because you have to, I feel like, be not.
Shaquille knew, because Shaquille's big into spirituality. He's actually the person that, I used to be heavy into spirituality in high school, and then I fell off of it, and then me and him got cool last year, and he's so heavy into it that he like drew me back into it. So he knew about Ram Dass. I asked somebody else.
Ram Dass.
And their sister knew who it was.
Wow.
I came across it, funny enough.
Ram Dass.
I always speak about how I have this bad habit of, I get sold by packaging a lot. Ever since I was a kid.
That's good though, right?
No, because I'll buy things I don't need just because the package is nice.
So kudos on a creator then.
Yeah, if the package feels nice, if it looks nice, if it's creative to something that stands out to me in that moment, I'm gonna buy it. I don't need it at all. No. I just want this packaging. Yeah. And I do that a lot with books, and that was one of the books. Like I've seen that book cover, and I was like, hold on, this book cover looks really cool. It doesn't have the dimensions of a traditional book. It's almost square. You don't see a lot of square books. Yeah. The chair made me, I still don't know what the chair is a symbol of, but it caught my attention. So I saw it online, and I was like, all right, let me see who this Ram Dass guy is. Okay, he's a spiritual teacher, saw some of his teachings. I need that book just because of how it looks. And then that drove me into a whole rabbit hole of him and his teachings and things like that.
And you're like halfway through it right now? Oh, I saw the bookmark. It looked like you were halfway through it. Or maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah. It's a weird book, though.
You skip around?
It's a book that you can skip around because you see how it's all white pages, then brown pages, then white pages?
Oh. The first, it's not like a...
It's sectioned off weirdly. Not weirdly, but the first, it's like section off in thirds. So the first third of the book is his initial growing through his spiritual path and like going to India and meeting with the legendary spiritual teachers and all the teachings he learned there. But then when you get to the brown pages, it's all illustrations. I'm guessing he drew. I didn't read the credits in the book, but they're all illustrations. Like it looks like doodles. Really? With like quotes that he had through like his teachings and like being here now, the dying of your old self to let your new self be reborn. But it's all like interesting, like hundreds of pages of like purely doodles. And I like illustrations and drawings and stuff. So you could just, it's one of those books that you could just go, you don't have to go through in order. You can just flip through a random page and then what you can read is
spill through it.
There, yeah.
Spill through it like an onion.
But you mentioned like the summertime and what you were going through. You don't have to get into specifics, of course, but what do you think was the biggest lesson you've learned being where you were mentally in a dark space, for a lack of a better term, versus where you see yourself now? What do you think was the biggest Biggest lesson you learned that you could take moving forward?
Self-control, self-awareness.
Delve into that if you can.
For sure, bro, because it's like, I tell people this all the time without getting into the specifics. When you're in a situation or circumstance, sometimes you don't see yourself.
Yeah.
It takes looking into the mirror and taking a step back and, like you said, observing from a different point of view. It's like when you think back, like when I think back to my old ways, decisions, behaviors, I don't identify with that person anymore. I always say
Speaking on the last few months or just years?
I think from once I started, like maybe both, but I think since I started like doing the inner work, going inward and really like kind of like unraveling those, whether you want to say not anything crazy, but just like traumas or demons that you might be, anybody could be dealing with that they're not comfortable detoxing out of their body. So I think journaling was one of those practices that helped me get my thoughts out onto paper. Having like a gratitude journal to talk about the things that we're thankful for, like breathing and taking a moment to come to awareness of like we're actually here. I think having like a coach and someone that I trust and is in a place in life that I aspire to be, and having an unbiased opinion of a professional to help guide me and navigate me through that was just like self-control, self-awareness, and a lot of like personal growth and development, because I feel like I graduated from a boy to a man. I think I was mature physically, emotionally. There were some things that needed to, for lack of better terms, just be worked on and worked through.
And when you say self-control, the control aspect, was it more so controlling your thoughts?
My reactions.
Okay.
Controlling my reactions. Like,
and that's more, you'd say, emotional based?
Yeah, because it's like, whether it's mom, family, friends, I want to be able to, manage my reactions and not overreact.
Take the moment.
To something that may not even be that big of a deal, because I'm looking at it from a defensive standpoint. Like, and I always have the conversation with people where it's like, I try not to ask people why questions, like, because it triggers defense. It's like, why are you wearing those shoes? Why are you wearing that hat? Why did you cut your hair like that?
They feel like they have to prove.
If you're intelligent, it won't bother you, but for the majority of people, I feel like it will.
That's a good point. I never thought of it.
Trigger defense of like, why? What do you mean why? Like, you know what I mean? You've heard that before.
I guess, like when you're a kid, when your parents, why did you do that? It's instantly, you have to, it's like you said, you have to get into defense and prove your innocence in a way, or try to sway the jury for like, And I'm
not saying I threw that around a lot, but I think that was something that I had to work on. And then I would say,
like asking why less?
Just changing the communication and the language a little bit differently, and stop making it so like I have to be right all the time. I think if you really value someone, whether it's your partner, a friendship, a bond, a brotherhood, you guys should come from a place of collaboration and not competition. If you really truly care for that person, and that's the symphony of souls. Yeah, man. So like that time, like, and I'm obviously nowhere where I want to be, because there's still like levels that I'm trying to like strive towards.
We're always growing.
Like, yeah, I think those would be the two biggest things, like self-awareness and self-control and self-compassion, because I'm my biggest critic. You might or might not know that, but a lot of people that are close to me, they know I struggle with like, kind of like similar to the post you reacted to with that friend you didn't want to mention, where it's like when she feels like she accomplishes something, she feels like she doesn't even believe it.
It's not worth celebrating.
Worth or value anything. I don't feel that way, but I just feel like any accomplishment that I experience, big or small, I don't even have the time to like really like accept, because I feel like I'm just late. That's my speed bump and my,
late in
this disadvantage in the sense of like, whatever it is, whether it's a milestone or
whatever you did, you should have done it earlier.
Like the vlog. It's cool that that's complete now. But I look at it like I'm late. I should have had the balls or the withal or the motivation to develop this documentation of my life, or this part of my life. But I've tried to, again, be more self-compassionate towards my decisions and actions, and say, hey, like, it's better late than never. That's always kind of like my mantra. So Yeah, I had to really take those two things, and now I'm very like intentional and cognizant of those two actions, because it's helped me a lot. I feel like I overthink, I overcomplicate, and I'm just always in my head. And
I think that's the it's one of the, I don't want to say cons, because it can be a positive thing if it's a tool that it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. All those traits. I think it's a common double-edged sword amongst creatives, to where you constantly, like you said, overcomplicate things. Yeah. You make things more complex than they need to be.
Overanalyze.
Like a big thing for myself is, if I make a song, and it, just to bring it on a like super surface level example, if I make a song and it felt really easy making that song, I don't think the song is good. Because why was it so easy to make? If it's something great, shouldn't there have been a level of tribulation or trial behind it?
Or a challenge.
Shouldn't have been a challenge. Shouldn't it have forced me to try a little bit harder, to try? But then I realized that my best songs are the ones where I'm not trying too much. Your best creations are the ones that you allow to happen. Yeah. I think that goes into, you probably heard the term flow state. And a lot of videos I watch, people constantly, flow state's like one of these.
I've heard that. Like you want to flow like a river.
Yeah, and in creativity, it's where you're creating, but you lose yourself in the creative process in a positive way, to where you're not trying. And it feels like the creation is creating itself using you. I believe that's what flow state is. To me, we are all vessels to allow the universe to work and flow through us to bring its ideas to life. I always say that ideas have a shelf life. The same, you've experienced that, I know, as we all have, where you come up with an idea and, oh, that would be a good idea, and you don't do it, and then next week, next month, next year, that idea is brought into life by somebody else, and you're like, hold on, I thought about that. No thought, no idea is original. Ideas and energies have an existence, a being of their own, and they jump into your mind waiting to be brought to life. They jump into your mind because they deem you worthy to bring it to life. This idea came, I'm an idea to do this kind of video. And you know what, Keenan Kingston, the spirit and essence of Keenan Kingston is somebody I trust to bring me to life. So let me jump into his mind. And then you say, that'll be a good video. And then you don't do it. And then it says, you know what? I gotta find somebody that's gonna bring me to life. I'm gonna give Keenan 2 more days, but if he don't make this video, I'm such a good idea. I have to be brought into this life. I gotta be manifested. I have to be tangible. 2 days passed, Keenan didn't do it. All right, let me jump into Joe Schmo over here. And then he does it. And you're like, yo, I had that idea. Why didn't I do it? It's that idea needed to come to life, and it jumped into your body, it jumped into your conscious, your subconscious, your train of thought, because it deemed you worthy to bring it to life, and we let it slide. So I'm saying all that to say we're vessels for these creations of us. These songs that I make, these videos you make, the clothes somebody else might make, the design somebody else might come up with, isn't purely us. It's the universe feeding through us. Seeing the way the universe is growing and expanding and ascending in a way that these new ideas will be revolutionary and revelations to a new way of experiencing art and creativity.
Damn.
We're just vessels. We're tools for the universe to build this, to do what we're doing, to create what we're creating. Wow. And flow state happens when you completely surrender to the creative process. You just allow yourself to create without overanalyzing, without any attachments, no strings attached, not the thought of, it has to go this way, it has to be this way. Why isn't it going this way? No, you're veering off this way creatively. No, we're supposed to be going that way. Turn the shit that way. When the whole time the universe like, yo, let me guide you. It's gonna be the best thing you've ever created. Just trust me. Flow state happens when you completely release and relinquish the need to be in control and give full trust to the process, because the process is being fed through you.
That's deep. So like, you answered my question already, but I was gonna say like, is being in flow state and having that architectural mindset, do those two things go hand in hand? Are they parallel in the sense of like how you said earlier in the conversation where like you want to be limitless, you want to have the power and the withal to accomplish whatever it is that you envision? If these ideas are just already available and here in the universe, and it's just for us to kind of own them, does being an architect mesh with that in the sense of just being able, okay, cool, I see this idea, I thought about this idea, or this idea came to me, like you said, it's coming to me because it feels that I'm the best person that can execute this design, project, real estate, company, whatever it might be on this earth. Do those two things, being in flow state and being an architect of your life, parallel, or is there some kind of like disconnect between the two?
I think they're one and the same. I think when it comes to being an architect, the architect in you is about creating your perspective. That's a perspective
of that idea,
perspective-based thing.
Because if an idea comes to you, an idea comes to me, and it's one of the same, it'll be different. How you execute,
it'll be slightly different. Yeah, it'll be different. If you gave an architect, got two actual architects that design buildings. And they had the same exact location, and you gave them the same kind of idea of what you want.
Creative freedom. Now you didn't give them a blueprint, because at that point it's copy and paste.
Exactly. You gave them the idea of what you want, but gave them the free creative freedom to put their own imprint on. You're gonna get two different designs.
Got you. So they go hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, because the same idea can jump into my mind and your mind, and we could both execute on it, but it's going to be two completely different things. And it doesn't mean one is better than the other. They just came from two completely different perspectives. I think that's all art is. Art is the ability to convey perspective through your choice of creativity. That's all. That's my definition of art.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I get it, because we're not one and the same. So it even ties into like when you talk about like musically, how like you might hear some artist say, damn, I had that record. And it may not have sounded like how it sounded when it became a hit. Or maybe it didn't do too well, or maybe it did okay. So, or
maybe that idea jumped into your mind and you didn't execute, and it ended up leaving and went to somebody else's mind, because that's where it actually needed to be, because they would have executed it better than we would have. That's okay. That comes with alleviating yourself of your ego. Which I had a conversation the other day. They told me that pretty much they saw a video where, in a literal sense, you can't remove the ego from your psyche.
It's always going to be there. It's going to live there.
It's always going to be there, but the ego is pretty much a seed. It's a seed in the soil.
Don't water it.
Don't water it. And our minds are a garden full of all these different seeds. And another chapter in the book is called The Garden Doesn't Lie. Your state of mind doesn't lie. The way you're thinking, the way you process your thoughts are because of how you chose to water that garden, or because what plants and seeds within your mind you chose to tend to, give water to, and show care to over a certain amount of time. So the garden doesn't lie. The way your thought process is because you allowed it to reach that point. It gets to a point where you have to go back into your garden and start pulling out all those weeds that you allowed to grow. And that comes with all these practices and different processes.
Well, question for you. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn, but it's going into what we're already talking about. So like being that the year is coming to an end, we might have like a week left in the year, 2024. What would you say has been some of your biggest challenges that you've overcame this year? And then what would you say is something that like you learned about yourself this year? And what would you say is something maybe that you want to, it's kind of like a three-part question, but like maybe something that challenged you this year, something you learned about yourself this year, and then something that you might implement or do something differently going into the next year. So those three kind of things tying together when you think of it from last January to this upcoming new year.
A challenge of mine that I had to overcome, and I'm still learning in real time, is that I can't allow moments or emotions to knock me away from my purpose and my path.
I love that. I just got to cut you off. Remember my questions.
Yeah.
But that struck like, not an idea, but it struck a thought because I'll listen to like some sermons in the morning as well. And it's this gentleman, his name is Bishop Dale Bronner. He's a pastor in the Atlanta metric area. And he says, you know, when things happen in your life, just because you had one bad chapter doesn't mean your story still can't be good. And he always talks about you don't want to let something that happened in 30 seconds ruin your day. You don't want to let something that happened, you know, in a day ruin your week and so on and so forth.
A drop of ink doesn't taint the ocean.
So go ahead, get back to it because I just struck that. Like,
because like you said, when we were going through our emotional turmoil in the summertime, I wasn't creating whatsoever. The last thing I was worried about was creating, and that was the perfect time to create. Like, there was so much traveling happening. So many things were happening to where it could be thrown into the creative process and could have been used as a runway to let different projects take off. And we were just going through what we were going through and allowing that, like laying in bed just sad.
And I got another one.
At 5 p.m., sun's shining. I could be writing a song right now. I could be typing something up. I could be drawing something. I could be coming up with the outline for the next whatever I want to tackle.
And something that kind of like even goes with that is, this is from a podcast that I watched, and it says sometimes setbacks are setups for comebacks. You know, so it kind of broke down because sometimes we say, you know, it's just a minor setback for a major comeback. But like when I heard it, it's like, no, sometimes setbacks are setups for comebacks.
How do you make an arrow shoot forward?
Got to pull it back. And then even to tie it further, when you talk about, you know, pregnancy and a woman being on that birth bed, what is the doctor saying? Push. But then also don't push. Like, refrain from pushing because that's the process of life.
Balance.
Your heartbeat. It's beeping. It's going. It's in and it's out. It's a negative and a positive. This is like the natural flowing state of life. You need the good with the bad.
One doesn't exist without the other.
And it's so hard to like see that until like you really sit down and have a conversation about it and you think about these things of your life.
Alan Watts is another like spiritual teacher or leader that I've studied. He has a book called The Taboo About Knowing Who You Are. It's a long title that I always forget, but within it he has a chapter that's it's called, if I'm not mistaken, The Black and White Game. And it pretty much breaks that down where in our existence, we're so tethered to wanting one without the other.
What Denzel said, if you pray for the rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. You know, that's my guy.
You can't want one without the other. It's all a marriage.
Yeah.
You enjoy music so much because you know what silence feels like. I was gonna say sound like, but you can't hear silence. But
yeah, some argue you could.
Maybe.
Right? I mean,
it's a different,
what is, like, because when I'm in silence and I'm alone and I'm sitting in solitude, silence can just be me hearing, you know, my fan going or birds chirping if I have my window open.
That's not silence, that's just other sounds.
Other sounds in the moment of silence. Okay.
To me, silence is like none of that's happening.
You can hear a pin drop?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the pin drop removes the silence.
Exactly. So yeah. Logically, yeah.
But he pretty much like, it's called the black and white game because you can't have black without white. You wouldn't know black without white. You wouldn't know sound without silence. You wouldn't appreciate the sunshine without all them rainy days. Like when we went to Vegas, living out here on the East Coast, when my grandparents moved out there and we visited them, we were just talking about how good it must be to live somewhere where it doesn't rain. And they were like, no, we actually want rain now.
Yeah, no, it's true. It'd be like that.
Isn't that weird?
It is. It is. It's real, but it's weird.
It's weird
how you could just have these like expectations from coming from one place going to another. But yeah, back to the questions though. So you gave me like one challenge of the year.
You said the challenge, and then you said
one thing that you learned about yourself, one thing that you probably do different going into the new year.
One thing I learned about myself is that I am.
So what was the challenge? The challenge was
allowing emotions and moments to knock me off my path and purpose momentarily.
Got you. Not allowing them to.
Not allowing it to.
Got you.
Realizing how much it could, set you back 6 months worth of creativity and creation, or just to soak in this moment.
Are you big on validation? Like when you have an idea that you're looking to bring to life, is there one person you trust that you'll send an idea to or a rough draft to, whether it's your brothers, a close friend, a family member? Do you keep it in-house?
I keep everything close to myself.
Got you.
Which is like, I know I need to start like sending things out or having somebody I can trust in to
just give you like some feedback or whatever.
Yeah, like now I'm starting to get into like with writing the book. Shaquille is that person for me. Like I'll come with a chapter and I'll send it to him, or in our meeting I'll have him read it and get feedback, and that like helps out a lot. Which is good because like it gives me revelations on like the whole perspective thing. When I was having trouble which perspective to take within the book, me and him sitting in the room reading one of the chapters, we were able to come up with an idea of how the perspective of the book should be written.
Right.
So it's good to like bounce ideas amongst each other.
Yeah. I feel the same way, but sometimes I feel like I need to find a better balance of managing that like expectation of like at the end of the day to my life, but I'm only seeking, I don't like saying validation, but I'm seeking the opinion and perspectives of others because these are people that I value. Like
I respect your opinion. Yeah.
The Big Chop.
The Big Chop, yeah.
Big Chop is crazy. I asked maybe about like 10 people. So outside of, or including my immediate family, obviously you didn't know till today. And I didn't think that was something that I would even like talk to you about. I'm like, bro, if you gotta like, you know what I mean? Like, so, but I remember I was at the gym and the other homie that I hang out with, he's my fitness homie. We hang out a lot. He was like, just kind of going up to like other like people in the gym, like asking. And like, I got a lot of like, yes, you should cut your hair, opposed to like, no, you shouldn't. He said some funny things, but he's like, yeah, like if this group of people are saying, you should
go for it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what's another good thing is that with cutting the hair, I've always heard
a lot of energy, a lot of history attached to it.
Your hair holds on to memories and energy, and being, you know how the last year was, and your hair retaining all that energy. Maybe it was a cut that needed to happen.
And that was part of the influences that made me get to my decision. And it was so many variables of like...
It helped even more with the...
Yeah, like it definitely was... At first, it was a balance of like, okay, it's 50-50. Yeah. I can do this or I cannot do this. Yeah. And I can find justifications on why I shouldn't do it. But as I started to like come up of the different, you know, reasons why it overpowered me not doing it, it won. It won.
Respect.
And that's one of the biggest ones. Was the energy and the history it had attached to it. Because that's, you know, when you're going here for that long, 8 to 10 years, it becomes a part of your identity. You know?
It is, yeah. Like it's how we knew you. When we envision you, we see that.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if I'm getting the shock factor from people around me, imagine the person himself, herself, where it's like, damn. But I embrace it, you know. It could be worse, right? Like I said, I'm not thinning, I'm not going bald.
Yeah.
Of course, I would like to have a little bit more facial hair to complement the cut, but things happen for a reason. Like what you really want may not be what you need at this point in time.
It's a bar.
But go ahead. So you gave me, you know, the value gain from this past year. The last thing is something that you would implement or do something or do differently coming into this next year.
Take more risks.
More risk?
More risk. Put myself out there more. Move forward with the understanding that even though something is old to me, it's still new to the world. That's a big problem I have when it comes to like marketing and pushing old work. Like Bleach came out last year, but I could still be pushing that because 99% of the world still doesn't know I exist yet, doesn't know that project exists yet, doesn't know how that project sounds yet. So just because it's old to me, just because it's a year old to me, I can post it somewhere tomorrow and it's going to be 30 seconds old to somebody else. It's going to be brand new.
Right, that is true.
You know?
So that's like a struggle you have where it's like once the old work is complete, you kind of let it settle where it settles, if wherever it may be, and you just don't touch it.
My problem is the moment, which is a good practice because it helps when it comes to critique and everything, but I take critique with open arms. But once I release a creative work, the moment it's released, I'm detached from it. I let it grow legs of its own and do whatever the hell it does. And I should allow it to grow legs and do whatever it does, but at the same time still hold on to its hand and say, well, we got to go this way.
Right, help it grow a little bit.
Like, yeah, you can walk on your own, but let's keep moving this way.
Right.
And keep checking in on it every once in a while to, oh, you don't sway.
Kind of like a parent.
Grab my hand. Exactly.
Don't be like I was going to say a foster parent, but foster parents still really are good people. But like a present father in their child's life.
Yeah.
Be in and out.
Because these creations are our children.
Right.
The moment they're born, I can't just...
And you're going to let them derail? He or she?
Yeah.
And then be mad when they're in jail? It's like, I took it over the top, but you know.
No, it's an analogy that fits though.
So, like, give me a summary. So you said taking more like calculated risks is something you would do different this upcoming year. One of the challenges you said that you faced this year was...
allowing moments and events to knock me off my purpose and mission.
Got you.
Momentarily.
And then the last one was, so it was the challenges, things you do different, and then something you learned about yourself.
Oh, that I'm more capable than I allow myself to think.
Wow.
Even though it's funny, it's a funny medium because when I think of myself, I think and know that I can accomplish anything in the world.
And you are that person.
There's nothing that exists within this world of existence that I cannot accomplish.
Right. Yeah.
And to still even think, oh, I could think even more in that realm, and how, in a good way, how scary that could be.
You look at it from a place of like fear almost, but good fear, I guess, just because you have such a like it's endless, if that makes sense. Like just your visions and goals. Like it's scary because of how much you know you can accomplish, or scary because it's like taking that risk.
Maybe scared of potential. When me and Shaquille sit down and we go over like my plans and everything for the future.
It sounds scary.
It sounds scary because I think so.
Like you said, it's built. That puzzle piece is built. You can see it.
I can see it, and even what I can see, it can still even go past that.
Right.
And we'll think like,
that is true.
When this all plays out, that's scary.
Right.
How far we're taking this. How far we're going.
Yeah. Even past your thoughts of what you thought would be it, like its final form, its final transformation. It can go past that. Like, so that could be kind of scary, but that's why there's people like me where I try to visualize the end result, but only so much to it, because to that point it can be scary. And then once you overanalyze that final thing or how your life should look, it can become scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Now, when you say you're working yourself backwards to attain that vision, it can become a little bit scary in a sense of like, damn, okay, like, how do I get there? Well, I just got to figure it out.
I think if you allow yourself to imagine what you can attain further past what you allow yourself to think of in terms of your potential, you might alleviate yourself of the habit of overanalyzing and being extremely self-critical. I think that's happening with me in real time now that we speak. We're speaking like in real time now. When I'm only focused on one song, and like, yo, this month I'm just gonna be focused on this one song, I'm becoming extremely critical of this one song. It's gotta be perfect. I'm spending so much time on this. It has to be exactly this way. I'm being extremely self-conscious about it. But now I'm writing songs, I'm shooting the videos, I'm coming up with the outlines and blueprints for all these content ideas. I'm writing a book. I'm doing all these things. I'm setting up the photo shoots. I'm doing all these things to the point where it's just becoming rapid fire. I'm gonna make this song because I need to write this chapter. So let me get this song out the way.
And it doesn't give you time to like really sit back and reflect or be.
And it's becoming better. Like the song I just dropped, Make It Mine.
Right.
It's the best reviews I've been getting from a song, probably ever.
Yeah.
And that's a song that I just did. Colin sent the beat. I came up with the verses while I'm driving on the way home from a meeting. Wrote those verses down as they're coming to me. Next day I recorded it, came up with the chorus, and it was one of those songs like, this song came too easy, it can't be good. But now I'm playing it for everybody. Before I'm even playing it for everybody, I can't get that song out of my head. When one of my own songs I have to wake up. I wake up in the morning, the first thing that's playing is that song in my head. When I'm out throughout the day, I need to run to my car real quick, no matter what I'm doing, because I need to hear this song.
Yeah.
That song is something something's talking to me. Then I'm starting playing it for other song and for other people, and they're getting that same reaction. Yo, that song you played, I can't get. Yo, send that. Yo, I need that on my phone. Send that. Then it goes from, yo, this song can't be good because it was too easy, to, no, this song is great because I allowed it to happen. And that's beginning to happen the more I'm allowing myself to truly see my potential with all things creative and attacking all of them at the same time. And now it's easier to be in flow state. If I run from flow state, if I try to be in control, the creative process is going to be prolonged.
Yeah.
The sooner I allow myself to submit to the process and become a vessel and let it feed through me and allow it to take the direction it's wanting to go into,
right,
the faster it's going to be done, and I can move on to the next thing.
Damn, that was deep, but I totally get that, because we just overcomplicate and overanalyze every single thing. So when you just attack everything like that creatively, yeah, I would see, and I've been there where I felt like, all right, let me just do these, Friday, bro, it was so crazy. I pretty much did the finishing touches for the vlog, and then we filmed the transformation of me cutting my hair in that process, and what that video would look like. So that was one of the few times where I had so many different things creatively that I had to work through. And yeah, I was just after the fact, a little bit, I'm like, damn, maybe it could have been a little better, because I'm a person that I like to pre-plan. I like to have a blueprint, so to speak, of what everything looks like A through Z. But this way, where it was I hit my guy up, he was like, yo, you want to document and get this filmed? In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm not really ready, but I mean, just come through and we'll figure it out. And that's what happened. So when you're doing all these, you're doing your book and you put a song out and you do the videos, you have no time within that moment of time to have any worry or doubt about what you're putting out, because it's just the work. If you don't trust the output, then you're always going to be critical of yourself. You're
gonna spend more time in your head thinking about the creration than creating it itself.
Being here.
But even then, what you said, where you felt like it wasn't good because you felt like it could have been better.
Yeah.
That should be all the reason to want to continue to do it again.
See that growth.
And keep going.
Yeah.
Because I believe that when you're going out to accomplish something, the worst thing that can happen is it all going the best way it possibly can the first time around. Because then why do you need to do it again? The worst thing that can happen is you creating something and becoming it all working out perfectly. Perfect, right, shiny, as you could have possibly imagined it, all in that first go around.
And then if that happens, just can you kind of do it again? It's kind of I guess you would call these people a one-hit wonder, where it's they might drop a song, a project, whatever that one thing might be, and it might be great that first time around, but once that second album or that second project or that sequel comes out, it's not as tasteful. There's no substance. There's nothing there that draws you in.
It all happened so good on that first try that there wasn't a practice involved in it, to where they had to do it repeatedly times over and over and over again to sharpen the tools that got them to that hit record.
Right.
And then now, since that first one happened, they think, oh, that's what needs to be done. So now they spend the rest of their career chasing the dragon of that first song. No, we got to make that song again, because that's what worked.
Right. And it's almost you have to bring yourself back to that place, because we always hear in the entertainment industry where there might be some artists that they get comfortable with certain artists, you still hear that hunger. Whether you talk about a J. Cole or whoever your favorite artist might be, it's that passion and that hunger to still be the top guy or the top girl.
And it's usually the people that had that long road. It took them 10, 15 years to get that one moment to set all this shit ablaze. But from the outside looking in,
don't look like that.
You got that in one night.
Yeah.
But then you really deep dive, he's been doing this for a minute. I just had that revelation the other day. just speaking to myself at like 3 in the morning. When it comes to my music catalog,
yeah,
I see a lot of people do it, where they'll enter this new phase. I could have dropped Bleach in this new era and deleted everything from my past, which I used to do. I'll drop something, oh, now this is the best thing I've ever did, let's get rid of everything behind. But now I put everything back up. It's all through like my SoundCloud link, and then I have like a burner YouTube page. So now I have my music catalog released in a way where you can see the growth and the ascension of an artist in real time. You can see how I sounded at this point in 2017, and then you can see, oh, he got way better in 2018, and then he got better in 2019, and then he got better 2020. So you're seeing in real time the growth of that artist. It all goes back to that. So when that one record does pop off, there's gonna be, you know, fly-by-night fans that say, oh, it happened, he blew up overnight.
Yeah.
But then the people that are gonna take the time to do the homework and study are gonna realize, oh, it's been this ascension this entire
There's
time.
There's a history here.
Yeah.
There's like a body.
It's been bubbling this entire time.
Right. We just never paid attention to it.
And I always say, if I would have blown up all the times that I wanted to, I would have been gone. I would have had that one song, that one moment, and been out of there. Because having all this time to build this creative process, to learn the business, to learn my own creative ways and thinking, of learning my own signature.
Right. I mean, you went through a name change.
The name change, the brand change, the business change, the record label change. Going through all that came with so many lessons that allowed me to build sustainability. I just said the other day that when I initially wanted to blow, I didn't have skills that were sustainable. You have to go through this prolonged period of finding yourself, fine-tuning your creative process and who you are as a person and as a creative and as a business and your business acumen to have a sustainable skill set. The reason that the one-hit wonders don't last is because they blew up without a sustainable skill set. They blew up, right?
We don't got
the world in their hand. But they didn't have the sustainability, the lessons, the growth that comes with having this 10-year process to know how to keep it.
Look, this life is a puzzle, leave you searching for peace. If you don't find it, then it leave you in pieces. Scatter brain for a thesis, Call of Duty prestigious. Through the switch-ups, I stay solid like the gold on my Jesus. Look, permanent ponder straight from my thoughts, and then it settle in existence like Olympic.